Welcome. This is the first in a series of videos demonstrating the use of two software applications, pfodDesigner and pfodApp, for use on Android devices such as a tablet or a smartphone. These two apps were developed by Forward Computing and Control Proprietary Limited out of New South Wales, Australia. pfodDesigner, a free app, is used to create a software program that is uploaded to a microcontroller, an example being an Arduino Uno, and from now on I'll sometimes refer to the microcontroller as a pfod device. So a pfod device is simply a microcontroller running pfodDesigner software. pfodApp is a paid app that communicates with a pfod device via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or SMS. Resultant combination can provide for a very versatile graphical user interface for usage in controlling a microcontroller. No Android programming is required, and these apps are available from Google Play. When you load pfodDesigner for the first time, this screen appears. Select Start New Menu, which brings up this page. We will set our target serial first. There are a wide range of targets that can be selected, and these will be discussed in more detail in future videos. For now, I'm choosing a BLE target with Adafruit's UART friend, as that is what I'm presently using. We'll then use our back button on our mobile device to return to this menu, which I'll refer to from now on as the Build menu. I'll then change the menu name with this button and call it something more descriptive like pfodDesigner 1. You save your enter name using the check mark on the lower left portion of the screen here, which returns you to the Build menu. If you now take a look at Preview menu, you'll see a blank page with a black background, and this message down here saying Prompt Not Set. We'll return to the Build menu and select Edit Prompt. This opens a page which allows you to edit the properties which you can see here. I'll choose Edit Prompt Text and give it the name First Menu. We can then set the background color for the page. I like silver. And set the font color for the text. I'll use navy. And I pretty much like bold in all my text, so I'll set bold. And we'll set the program font size at 4. Now we have to use the back button to return to the Build menu. The thing to remember here is that if you see a check mark on the lower left portion of the screen, then use it. Otherwise the program is calling for a back button press. As you can see here, directions for how to navigate back and forth are given. If you happen to mistakenly use exit at this point, you will exit pfodDesigner, but all your entries are automatically saved. You just have to load the program again. Now if you preview menu again, you can see your first menu name with a program size font of 4 and in the color navy on a silver background. Now we'll add a menu item by selecting Add Menu Item, which pulls up this page. For starters, we'll select a button, which automatically displays this page, which is used for setting your button attributes. Select a program font size. I'll select 2. Then select a font color you might like. I'll select blue. And as you can see on that color selection page, no check mark or back button press is required, as the program automatically returns you to the button attributes page. I'm going to now select the background color for this button, yellow, and I'll select bold again. I haven't edited my text yet, so I'll select Edit Text and give this button a more appropriate name. I'm going to call it Increment Count by 1, Re-0 at 5. To get back to the button attributes page, use the back button to escape the keyboard, and then the check mark. I'm happy with those settings, so I'll use the back button again to return to the Build menu. Then I can preview menu again. You can see the button you just created on your first menu page. Now we'll add another menu item. This time I'm going to select Data Display. I'll leave the program font size where it is on this one, and I'll set the font color to white. And I'll set the background color to teal. And also set bold. And if you wanted to see how this data display looks on your first menu page, you'll have to back button once to get back to the Build menu. After seeing what it looks like, we'll select Edit Menu. Then at that point you can see data display item is labeled as Reading. That's because we haven't edited the text yet. So we'll select Reading and get back to our data display attributes page. Here we have two text strings we can edit, leading text and trailing text. So we edit the leading text and change it to count equals 2. And I usually add a few empty spaces, which puts a bit of separation between the leading text and the numeric value for count. Now at this point we can see the number 775 listed next to count. This is a dummy value that is automatically generated by the pfodDesigner program, and which we will change at our convenience after we upload this completed pfodDesigner 1 program to the pfod device and run it. In this example, I'm using an Arduino Uno as my pfod device. Now we can set the trailing text, which is used for units of the displayed number. I'm just going to call it hours. And again, if you want a bit of separation between the number and the trailing text, you put a couple of spaces in front of hours. Here you can see what it looks like with no separation. And again with two spaces in front for some separation. We've labeled part of the button, the first menu item we added, as RE0 at 5. So we're going to set display max to 5 to get the program that we're going to run to work the way we want. We don't need to set display min, as it is automatically set to 0. We can change it, but in this case we won't. After setting the display max to 5, you'll see the number is now 3.788. And the reason for this is the data variable range setting, which we will now change to a max value of 5 as well. The value for count should now be 3. This data variable range will be discussed in detail during the next video, where we upload our built program to the pfod device and run it. Before we leave the data display attributes page, we'll take a quick look at the text and slider options, of which there are 3 choices: text and slider, text only, or slider only. We'll go with text and slider. Also, we can see on this attributes page setting italic, underline, flash, sound, and change command care. We'll look at these a bit more in future videos. Now we'll go back to our build menu. Most of the items in this menu we've discussed. However, the refresh interval we will also be looking at in detail in future videos. Move items up, down, and delete items are self-explanatory. The last thing to do before exiting is to press Generate Code. Then select on the following page, Write Code to File. pfodDesigner generates very nearly 100% of the code required to run the program on the pfod device. All that is required in the end users part for this example is a few lines of code that run whenever the increment count by 1 RE0 at 5 button is pressed. We can now press exit, and when we do, we'll see a quick message near the bottom of the screen saying finish writing last block of data to pfod app raw data pfodDesigner v3.txt. When exiting pfodDesigner for the very first time, the software generates a pfod app raw data folder, and it also generates a pfodDesigner.txt file, which it inserts into this folder. The pfodDesigner.txt file is overwritten every time you use pfodDesigner, so there's no need to erase it. So with the text file generated, we're ready to launch the second video. Thanks.